Hi guys, and welcome back to Dice Down Gaming. In today's video, I've got some really special guests. I've got with me Leo Robinson from Team England King's Cross, and we've got Ryan Willmott from Team England King's Cross. Most important question of all my videos: how are you both?
Very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm good, good. And Ryan, how about yourself?
I'm also doing well.
That's what we like to hear. So you guys are fresh out of the WTC with a fantastic finish of 4-1. And apologise, I didn't look at which I should have. Where did you actually finish placement wise?
Sixth. We were the bottom of the 4-1 bracket,
But
unfortunately.
you were the top of everyone else who wasn't 4-1. So that's good.
There was that.
That's a really, a really incredible result given the caliber of the field. England going 5-0, 4-1, and correct me if I'm incorrect. The third England team went 3-2.
Yeah.
So that 13
And 12
3,
and 3
12
as
and
a
3.
nation.
Quick math was
Yeah.
never my strong point. 12-3, fantastic. So, I mean, as overall, England had a fantastic showing, which is awesome. So today we're going to go a bit around, how you knew the team was forming, when did it form, your sort of practice schedule, and then we'll get a bit into your guys' game specifically, and then how you felt, how it all went. So we'll kick off with, first of all, when did you know King's Cross team was what it was and who was in it? Ryan, you take us through that.
Yeah. So we had the Invitational February, I think it was, where all of
Yeah.
the guys who were applicants went down and played. At that point, all the captains were selected, and then I think we had that month from after the applicants went in to just for the captains, just to see around like the players and stuff. I think we had a couple of leagues and stuff going on as well, on like War Table and things. And then Yana probably approached us. I think it was like mid-March. I think in the end when teams and
Yeah.
stuff were selected.
Fantastic. So you knew around sort of mid late Feb that King's Cross team was who was in it. From then, sort of Leo, once you knew, okay, this was the team.
Mhm.
Did you arrange specific team practice, or was it very much that you guys went and practiced solo and just communicated your practice?
Well, the interesting dynamic in our team was that other than myself, the rest of the team all lived in London. So they were all practicing on Wednesdays pretty frequently together. However, despite living so far away, I felt quite fortunate because we all attended Welsh and Warmanchester, and the Invitational and the team event we had in June, July time. So we did at least get together fully as a team several times before then. Um, so I'd say the rest of the team practiced together a little bit more, but we still, I kept in touch despite living further away.
Fantastic. Yeah. So yeah, and Ryan and Dean and crew play at Badminton Cafe, which we're very fortunate. It's sort of local to me, so I get to pop there down there every now and then. But I suppose the magic of War Table and the modern world is that even though you're far away, you're never really that far away. So communication and practice is not too much of an issue, is it? Fantastic. So say we know heading into the WTC, you guys have practiced. You've probably got a spreadsheet. You've got all your stuff going. How did you feel prior to, the event starting and getting there? What were your aspirations? Obviously to win it, but where do you think you were realistically sort of setting your targets for?
Do you
Ryan,
want
do you want
both
to
of us
first?
for this one?
Yeah.
Sure.
So I mean, our spreadsheet and stuff kind of looked. We were feeling really comfortable before lists went out in terms of the field and stuff, and then I think lists and stuff came out, and then we practiced more into certain things, and then a lot more holes were coming through. We were very surprised about the amount of dusk that were in
Same.
WTC this year. So that was interesting. Old Umbury we kind of expected, but dusk was definitely a shock. Cricks was always one that was hard to get practice into because there's not a huge amount of Cricks players in the UK. So I think Leo was starting to hassle some of the Americans for some games there at like 6 a.m. or something their time, something stupid.
No, no, I made probably play until 4 a.m. in the morning.
Oh, for it. That's worse.
Even worse. Yeah.
Yeah. And then he had to wake up the next day for a tournament. I think was
Yeah.
one of the
Well,
games.
after we'd finished our game, he told me that it was 4 a.m. and that he was going to get an hour and a half of sleep before driving 2 hours to a 5-round tournament, which he then won.
Not bad.
Yeah.
Not bad. Good person to practice against, obviously. So post, I think that's interesting. So post list being published, obviously they're locked in for you guys as they are everyone. Again, to me, Dusk was a real surprise. I thought the Phantasm might get a few more lists in there, but the amount of lists there were pretty incredible. And as you say, you found that sort of you found some holes in your pairings. What specifically were they, Leo? Out of interest, what did you find that you maybe weren't so prepared for as a team?
I'd have said the main ones that in the Matrix looked rough. Dark Ops was one that came up quite a lot, as no one or few of the team members had good ratings into that. I felt a little bit disadvantaged. I think David felt a little bit disadvantaged. I think somebody else did as well. And there was another one. It might have been Crix as well. I think Kythos in general was a caster that appeared as probably. So we used like a 1 to 10 scale, with 5 kind of being obviously the middle. And Crix and Dark Ops in particular, we were showing a lot of 3s and 4s for a lot of mostly the Kythos pairings, I'd have said. Jan struggled into Crix for a while. He played it so much with Conrad down in Bad Moon that he did get it closer to a 50-50, but it was never a comfortable game. Like Ryan said, we didn't have the practice into it. I'd played like 3 or 4 games into Crix entirely since their release before the WTC. So although I felt that Kythos was probably a pretty reasonable matchup, I've not played it, so that made it feel a lot less comfortable. So I'd have said those were the 2 main ones. Most of the other factions was kind of someone would have a weakness against it, but we were pretty well covered.
Okay.
And then Dusk was kind of the last thing, which was just, again, lack of practice for most people except myself. So our strategy with that was to just make me play as much of the Dusk as possible, which thankfully worked fairly well.
Yeah, absolutely. The record shows that. Did you sort of later into the process, when you saw lists and knew what was coming out, did you try and find targeted practice games, Ryan? Like, is anyone playing, I don't know, for example, Dust? Can I play against Dust this evening? Did you sort of take a more targeted approach later into the process?
Dusk was one that it was very hard to get in the UK unless you went to people in different countries. It was very hard. Like there's very few. I know a couple of the team managed to get through to Dan Jones, who hadn't really been playing in forever, but at least tried to get some games in. Unfortunately, Leo's dad doesn't really do War Table, so who's playing the Dusk, so we couldn't really get stuff from him. But you guys attended a games day, so I think the games day helped quite a lot of people for ones that did get to play into Dusk, because they weren't one that was really well repped. I think we then started targeting some other ones because Leo wasn't feeling as confident in Storm Legion with his pairing. I wasn't feeling as confident into Gravediggers with the Vargas pairing, so we target those a little bit. It was there was a couple of them that we practiced a little bit more. I mean, David just went absolutely ham most of the time. To be honest, that guy he just loves playing the game. Loves playing the game. But yeah, so there was definitely target practice. I think we definitely could have done more.
Yeah,
there's only so much time in the day, isn't there?
There is, and I don't actually think it punished us that much in reality, because I think, which was quite good.
Yeah, definitely. I think a lot of the matchups that no one had the experience for, we just used the pairing process really effectively to just completely avoid it. So the only other player on our team, other than me, who'd played any reasonable amount of Dusk in the last 6 months was David. And out of the 3 Dusk games you had to play, he played the third, and I played 2 of them. And because he'd practiced a couple of times in recent history into those sort of Hell Phantasm lists, so he had the experience into Dusk to go and win the game he had to play. I felt really uncomfortable with Crix. I was never given a Crix game. Jan and Dean took all of those. So we just kind of managed that way. I felt a lot of our pairing process strategy was based on experience more than how good the matchup itself was. Like all the games I played, were matchups that I'd played a lot of times, and I avoided all the ones that I hadn't practiced much into, even if on paper it still looked good. And I think we kind of did that pretty consistently.
Fantastic, fantastic. One question I didn't get to ask Chris and Jamie, so I'd love to ask you guys. How do you find, and it's not really competitive orientated, how do you the best way to travel to the WTC with your models? What system have you got for that?
Go, Ryan.
Leo, you go first, and then Ryan, you jump on.
Okay. I have a bittersweet relationship with Gravediggers. I hate the fact that I don't have any 120mm models, and that deeply saddens me. But the positive side of this is the actual volume of the models in my army is incredibly small when packed properly. So really simple. I have a cardboard box. I lay bubble wrap in it. I individually wrap every single model in toilet paper. Not very classy. Sit them all in. Bubble wrap over the top. The box is maybe as long as a 10-inch widget, 4 or 5 inches tall. That goes in one half of a small carry-on suitcase. Stuck all my team shirts and kind of some clothes in the other. And then my backpack had like widgets in, dice, trays, like that, those sorts of things. And I managed all right doing that. It's a bit of a faff unpacking everything when you get there and packing it all again before you leave. But because I don't have any big models, that was quite easy for me to do.
Does the job. How about you, Ryan?
I used my daughter's lovely small pink suitcase, and then just put the foam slots straight into that, and it fits pretty well. I did it for Belgium as well, so mine was fine. I will give honour to Jan because he's not here, who takes his army in a biscuit tin filled with little packing foam, and that's it. And that's survived three WTCs now.
And when we say, if you say how does nothing break, we're bringing like old metal models in a tin and they're not wrapped up well at all. And his response is everything that could have possibly ever broken already has and has been super glued so much that nothing breaks anymore.
He's got a system.
So it just works.
And he's sticking to it.
Yep. He went on holidays the week before. So he went on 2 holidays with his army and nothing's broken.
Indestructible Grimkin.
That's phenomenal.
Yeah.
I love that. Fantastic. Right, so let's jump into the event. If you guys want to sort of give an overview of how maybe the round felt each round, how the other guys' games went, and then you can give me a bit more in depth on your personal games. Ryan, if you want to kick off round 1, who were you paired against? How did you feel the pairing process went, and then a bit about your game?
Okay. I'm not going to lie, probably won't remember the full names, so I'll just say the country and then the number of the team. So we played France 1, round 1. In terms of the pairing process, it felt like everything went pretty much on what we was expecting. So I think that's the first round where it was like, we need to get Leo into Dusk. Just because if he gets it, we're really comfortable with the win there. Grimkin's such a curveball that we've got to avoid certain things, and then he's pretty much should be fine. Can't remember who. I think we lost, so we had to put down person first.
Yeah.
I'm not going to remember the exact.
No, you'd have to get a high level overview is good. Just like how do you feel it went?
In terms of the actual matchups and stuff, I think all in all, the only not great one was Dean. Maybe Dean went down first. So Dean got Dark Ops into one of the guys. It's Kythos. The guys from France has been repping it non-stop as well. Like I think Dean played him at the most recent Belgium Masters as well. It was a narrow loss.
Played him at Warmachine as well.
Yeah. So that was, I think, the only bad one. I can't remember what David got.
He got Carissa, old Legion of Everblight.
Oh, yeah, that's what I can't remember. Leo got Dusk. Jan got Chimera, Subchariot. And then I got Trolls in that round. We all felt pretty comfortable, apart from Dean, who felt like it was winnable because he could at least pick the table. So I think that was one of the reasons we went down with Dean first, because it was like, he's probably going to pick me because he's played it before. He's won, but I'm going to play my other list this time, but I can pick the best of the bunch of the tables. I will say early on, I do think the tables picks were more relevant than the last time I went, because they were quite dynamic. So it felt a bit better on that front. In terms of my matchup, I ended up playing Huxley into Shadow Tongue. I think I spent almost every turn in ground mode, just denying everything. So I felt a little bit bad for my opponent. They didn't really get to do much. They did kill the Black 13th, bottom one.
They got some points.
They got some points. And then I just left the Fire Guardian kind of clipping out of a forest as like a beacon for the general to be able to charge repo and then be able to kill Shadow Tongue at some point. So I just waited for the right opportunity. So my game was pretty comfortable.
Yeah, that's a tough one, right? You might have some Vroggers, you've got Gallows. I've got these tricks, and Huxley's like, no, you don't. Sit down.
Yeah, he's got the slam cannons as well. Yeah. I'm just going to say ground mode for the entire game.
Yeah. Nice. I've been on the other end of that. It's painful. Leo, how did your game go?
Well, worse than I expected. So I played Dusk, into Helith, Phantasm, Double Cats, Kruger, Double Shield Guards, Ghast. Fairly standard list. I'm prepared for this. I've played into Helith probably 30 or 40 times this year. Yeah, I know what every model does, I know what the threat range is. It should be very comfortable. I've played this match with loads. And then Ryan and I were the last two people to get paired. So we were looking at the tables, and it's like, well, which one do you want? Because Ryan was like really just unbothered. So he just told me, pick whatever you want, whatever feels most comfortable. And actually, in retrospect, I think I picked the wrong table. Because the table I picked had a central building, a really large central building, which at the time of choosing, I'm looking at this thinking a Phantasm's going to really struggle to move around that. So immediately that's an advantage. Like I'm going to have spots where I can sit inside of the Phantasm's threat range, but with denying landing spots using objectives and things. So it's going to be okay. In the end, I was wrong. The landing spots didn't matter so much because of the scenario. Played payload, so he was quite comfortable sitting the Phantasm back on his 40mm for most of the game. The issue I had was that building gave Helith a perfect spot to run straight into the centre of the table, feet really aggressively, and just remove whatever he wanted to. Immediately after deployment, I think I lost the roll off, and he chose to go second and take the side where the building would be more advantageous. I knew immediately going into it that I was going to lose Plugger to the feet. I just accepted that. I stuck a rock wall there just to make things a little bit more awkward. Without the rock wall, he could probably kill me without the feet, and he can save it. So I thought I'll force the feet. I'll just accept losing Plugger. It'll be all right. Lost Plugger like top of 2, maybe top of 3, exactly as expected to. I played the game from there. Again, it's still fine. Like I played the match a lot, but I had some real issues on his feet turn. He had decel up. The cats go to 15, 19. He had a lot of shield guards about, and I just couldn't get like above a 4 or 5 on quite a lot of crucial damage rolls. So I had a big issue removing the cats. I removed 1 unit, the rest kind of stayed alive. So attrition just slipped. As a result, because he was playing quite a tanky build, he'd managed to remove my ability to kill the Phantasm, which is, as any excellent Colossal player does, I can't kill the Phantasm anymore. Sits in the middle of the table. I'm instantly looking at the table. I've got no scenario options. Blocks heavily on my side. I think on his last turn he played, he finished his turn with 20 seconds left, something like that. And I think your first thought is, as long as you can make him play another turn, you might be all right. I just couldn't score the points. But I lined up an assassination on Helith where I could take the cover off her, put 5 effects on a machine gunner from a range unit, full CRA with a crate. She'd used Life Trader. She only had 11 boxes left. I just went in. I need like 3s to hit boosted, and then it's dice +2. She had 1 camp. I put a few more shots in after, and luckily secured the assassination. But it was a much harder game than I was expecting it to be.
Oh, fantastic! That sounds like a really tight game. That building in the middle, Helith being able to use that as a base for the game, especially being able to shoot through it as well, right? So really, really, really tough. But you secured the assassination to win. Fantastic. So what was your score for the round 1 in total?
4-1.
Yeah.
So Dean lost his. Everyone else won.
Dean lost the game. Everybody else secured theirs.
Fantastic. Great start. So on to round 2. Leo, if you want to run us through loosely who was paired, and then you can go for your game.
Okay. So we had a bit of a fun situation round 2. So between round 1 and 2, we had lunch. When I sat down for lunch, the full team was there. Round was drawn halfway through lunch, so we're eating, having a look. USA won. Right, okay, this is going to be tough. This is a quality team. Lovely guys, though. We were very excited for this round. And at the venue itself, we'd found this beautiful spot where there was a table and just five, perfect number, very comfy chairs. So we're like, right, let's go to the chairs. Let's do our team planning. We're going to get this sorted. Went and sat down. After we'd planned out how we were going to approach the round, what we wanted to do, and discussed everything in depth, the round was redrawn for reasons we aren't particularly aware of. And then we got Belgium on instead, which is ironic, as when we were walking back to the venue, we were speaking to some of the Belgium 1 players because they'd been drawn against England 1, and now things have been switched around. So now we're completely, redoing the script. Right, okay, how do we approach this? Eventually, we start the round. We won the roll-off this time, which was fairly helpful. Again, similar strategy, get me into the dusk, which again paid off. Ryan, I think, played into Tim's Ogoth. Jan took the Holy Bout Grenade, as we called it. Wout's obviously an excellent player. Aldumbra haven't been out for a tremendous amount of time. Most of us aren't particularly practiced into it. I felt like the matchup was positive for me, but with it still being Wout, it's a big risk. So we thought, let's just try and get everyone into comfortable matchups. And the grids for Jan and Dean were kind of the worst overall. So we were like, we'll give one of them Wout. We'll accept it's going to be a very tough game. And then the rest of us will just focus on kind of getting positive matchups and going from there, which worked. So Jan got Wout. Dean got Kythos, again, incorrect this time though. And David played Brian Bloods, I believe. So I think it kind of went as we'd planned. I got the Dusk game again. Everybody else got comfortable matchups except Jan, but that was fine.
Fantastic. So let's go with your game, Leo. How did you feel your game went? Brief overview is good.
Yeah, so coming off the back of the first round where I played into Helith, I was looking at Lawrence's lists, slightly different. He's only got 1 unit cats in the Helith list. He's got some archers in there, which is slightly easier for me. But I'm looking at his off list was Moraine with a lot of Mage Hunter assassins and some Rangers and like Aberration, a balloon, those sorts of things. And I was expecting, right, yeah, this could be another Connor Helith game, like no problem. Dropped Moraine instead, which took me by surprise a little bit. So naturally, I'm like, okay, does he know something that I don't? So I'm rereading the list, looking at all the text, checking. No, it's fine. Like Kruger's gonna be an issue. Other than that, it should be all right. We set up, deployed, everything felt fine. The table was fine. Everything was fairly comfortable. Like this was still well within my depth as far as like dusk practice was concerned. But Lawrence had, I'm assuming, a little bit of a gap of practice into Gravediggers because he was measuring threat ranges. I went first on his second term. He was coming up. I plug a right in the center of a forest, and it was a huge forest. Like you couldn't see out of it from most angles. So Lawrence has come measure my walking threat, obviously because I can't see to charge. Places his army, flips the clock, and he'd not known that the fuel canister was a pre-movement. So Plugger moves forward, gains line of sight. I took a few other measurements, looking at the commanders. Like I had a really solid feet turn. Went and killed a bunch of the Mage Hunters, killed Aberration, killed some cats, like just a really, really solid turn. And then Lawrence was just kind of on the back foot from there. He played an excellent game, really fought to pull it back, but he got quite low on clock, and I managed to score the extra points on Wolves. So I managed to flip back over, and he had very little time and couldn't score the points necessary. So that was a scenario win.
Nice, yeah. The way you can use that fuel cache is incredible, right? Charge, killing spree. I'm going to fuel cache mid activation and jump. Yeah, it's just incredible. And like you say, if you don't know that, and then suddenly Plugger's in the middle of your army, difficult.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Ryan, run us through your round 2 if you don't mind.
Yeah, so it was Huckley versus Harush. I think I picked the table. I think we were one of the last ones to get picked. Luckily, there's a giant bit of quicksand kind of in the middle of the table. So I could kind of bank on him and be a little bit slower. That's just a very cagey game of I've got to stay in ground mode until he comes close enough. If I don't damage the Golgos, if I just shoot things outside 3 inches of it, or if I use sprays, I can do some damage through Windstorm. Wait for him to have to get close enough, and then I have the threat advantage at least. 2 seconds.
Yeah, no worries.
He goes up feet. I try to wait out the feet. because we played earlier on in the week, I think, in one of the houses with the Americans. I think this time I couldn't wait out the feat, so I went in. Damage started off really good with the general going in, being able to actually charge. And then when it came to all of the jackhammer plays and stuff, the dice just went downhill really bad. So I think I left it alive barely on like 8 boxes or something. So it stayed alive. But the game was just a constant back and forth, slow scenario. And I think it was bottom of 7. I think he had like 10 seconds left. I had about 5 seconds left. I win by 1 scenario point in the end.
Damn, that
Just
sounds
for a
like
very, very cagey game. Yeah.
that sounds like a game of Warmachine. Amazing.
Yeah.
In that game, would you say you were largely Iron Horse, using the repo and playing KG on that one?
No, so you've got to be a bit careful because the Siege Turusk's got drag.
Oh yeah, she's Rusk. Fair enough.
Harushk also likes to full hammer stuff as well. So you've got to be very careful. So it's a case of waiting until usually after the feat turn, it's all right to start doing the whole repo plays, like the Iron Horse sort of plays. But you've got to wait out until then, just taking the damage that you can. This could be very ironic for 2 games time, by the way.
Okay. I look
But yeah, you've got to be very cagey. It's doable. I'm not a huge fan. Like me and David played it once or twice, which helps. I mean, our logic, I think, for most of the people in our team was we can't beat this person, but we feel like we can beat any of the other sort of players. So it's like we probably can't beat David with Farushk, but we now feel comfortable into all the other people. So that's one of those ones where it's just like I'm pretty sure I can do it. It's just I've got to be very careful and cagey. I think like the Black 13th for like in his deployment zone by the end of the game, towards the end of the game, on the far edge as well. Like I think it was trench warfare. I might be wrong.
Sure.
But yeah, it was proper sort of proper cagey and just not taking any risks.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, like you say, if you've got Siege Tarask or the heavies with drag or the Gargoyles drag head, you probably want to be in no drag mode for most of the game. Okay, that makes sense. How was England's score at the end of this round?
4-1 again. I can't really comment on the other games though, because in this round, I think I was the last game of the entire tournament to finish, because I had like 3 judges stood next to the table about to say, "Can you like end it here?" before we shook hands. But I did notice that Dean got a very quick assassination with Nixian, like lined up some sprays, the shades, like a wyvern spray and those sorts of things on Kythos. I assume David just played his usual comfortable game into Prime Bloods.
Yeah, I think it was just a slowish scenario grind for David.
I think it's a great point you made, Ryan. I think we're fortunate in the UK. You have people like Leo for Gravediggers, or Jamie for Chimera, or David for Orgoth, right? That they're extremely competitive and extremely good at their army. So you play that person and they play their army, and you're like, that's incredibly tough. And you play someone, without being rude to anyone watching, who is not the same caliber, and you're like, oh, this game's a lot easier than when I just played that last guy. Right? I've played the Morgoth players and against Horus, and I'm like, wow, this isn't so bad. You get a comfortable win, and you play Dave, and you're like, is this the same army? Like this is not the same game that I played before. But we're fortunate that we can get reps against those players, and it only makes us better. So that's a really great point, I think. Fantastic. So 4-1, 4-1. So currently King's Cross 2-0. We love to hear that. Ryan, why don't you jump into round 3 and we'll repeat the same process?
Yeah. So round 3, we did actually get USA team on this time round. So we got that. I missed the start of the pairing for this because I think me and Justin, the guy from the American team, went out for a cigarette at the time, and we came back and had started. So I think the rounds was Dean was playing into Cody with Infernals.
Wrong team.
No, wrong team. Yarn was playing into Justin with Infernals. There we go.
Yes.
Dean was playing into Brad with Necrofactorium.
Morkai
I was playing into Brandon with Vargas. David finally got his Harushk mirror. He was very happy about that. Very happy about that. And then Leo got JVM with Shirus. Yeah. I think the only ones we weren't hugely happy with, I think Leo couldn't play into Vargas. I can play into Vargas, providing I don't lose the dice roll. that just makes it so much harder.
Which you did.
Yeah, I did. Yarn felt okay into Infernals because once again we've got Zilv in the UK who's a fantastic Infernals player. I think he's played it a couple of times over the years. Although slightly different lists, there is that, and then Dean felt okay initially into Brad.
Third Kythos game of the day, by the way.
Yeah, even more Kythos. So Dean, I think, slowly lost on that game. For David's game, it's a Harush mirror, so he obviously won.
Yeah, because it's David.
Yeah, he's an absolute machine when it comes to mirrors. Yarn lost because he failed a rerollable 11 to win the game.
Tough.
Which it's not a given, but it could happen, which is fine.
Mm-hmm.
And then so I lost the dice roll into Vargas, which was a bit sad. So everything's beyond the midway point, turn 1, with Vargas because of fleet and all of the stupid repos and Rhythm of War, or whatever the one is that they have. So I've got to be really cagey my turn 1. I think I barely move up. I have a unit of Storm Lances and Kruger just hide behind a forest for most of the game, just to be able to pop them out at a later point. Try to use my terrain as much as possible. But there's only so much I can do because he's just going to shoot me. I stay at the melee threat ranges as best as I can, but he still shoots me. I think he drops an airdrop for the AoE gun. I don't know what that is, Leo, but
the missile pods.
Which one that is? Yeah, missile pods. That's it. So you kill some dudes with that. I try to start forcing aside. He starts to words. Rolls pretty well with the D3s on the machine guns, so he starts to do quite well there. He kills a good amount. I feet bottom of 2, I think.
Were you playing Calder for this game, or still Huxley?
Yeah, I was playing Calder. Yeah,
I thought so.
Yeah. Huxley just gets shot off.
Yeah, I assumed so. But...
so low. Yeah, sorry. No, I think he feats first. So he feats in a point where he goes, I think it's 6 up on scenario. It's like really silly. Luckily, he didn't block me out of his objective because it was 2 fronts. So he had a model scoring it. He could have put another Warjack there, which basically would have forced me out of the game, but he didn't. So instead, I had to kill an armor 28 heavy and a bunch of other stuff to stay in the game. Somehow, a unit of Stormguard Legionnaires and a striker with a halberd killed that heavy. Don't know how, but they did it, like the absolute heroes they are.
17 weapon masters, what do you mean?
They're pretty good. They are pretty good.
Quite good.
And then, unfortunately, on the other side, I was getting quite a lot of value. The sailors charge up and start bowling Plugger into another heavy. I think I left Plugger on like 4 or 5 boxes, which was really sad. So he stayed alive, which meant that he got loads of value the next turn. Because I think I also missed 4 6s in a row. If I hit one of them, he basically dies because I've got the other Legionnaires in. The fact that Plugger stayed alive basically meant I lost the game because Plugger then just killing sprees through so much of the stuff there. But I held in for as long as I could to see if there was any assassinations out. Because basically my plan into that, because I can just look across the row, see how the team's doing, and see if I've got anything there. But yeah, it was just barely holding on for it. So mine wasn't too great.
I would love to get into a conversation with the guy who designed Vargas. If he's going through the card, this is your plus armor guy. Oh, fantastic! A lot. Do you know what we haven't put on him? We haven't put a speed buff on him yet. So let's put that on the guy that gives you +3 armor. Insane. Right, Leo.
Don't forget the hit buff.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
And 3 rack slots, and one of the best guns in the game.
Apart from that,
and evasive. Why does he have evasive? He's a heavily armored guy at a medium base.
Yeah, honestly. Yeah. I mean, absolute scenes. How was your game 3, Leo?
Very interesting, actually. So I remember during the pairing process, I was down on the table and I was presented with Drake's Chimera and Brandon's Gravediggers. And I looked at the 2 guys across the table, looked at Jan and went, you know which one I want, so we're going to pretend we'll think about it, and then I'll just pick the one I want. So everyone has a laugh. The Americans are like, oh, okay. Naturally, I picked Jairus for reasons I'll get into in a minute. Miro just feels uncomfortable. So we get to the table, and Jake immediately goes, "So, are you going to play Boom Boom?" And I was like, "Maybe, we'll see." Because I assume the reason he said that is the typical Jake's list struggles quite heavily into Jairus because you have it's really simple to explain game with the stereotypical like 4 heavies, 4 lights, maybe some commanders, and the 13th or something. That's that style of Jake's list. Doesn't matter really who goes first. One army comes up, the other army comes up. Then the Chimera army comes up, feats. You either back off and lose in scenario, or you kind of try to awkwardly come in with some tramples. You definitely don't kill the trike, and you try to hang on and just hope that with your feet they can't kill enough. It's not a good plan. Jairus wins that like 9 times out of 10. I played that matchup a couple of times with Jamie. It's rough. So he was expecting McCoy, which is reasonable. He'd shown me his iPad, went Jairus, and just assumed I dropped McCoy. Didn't even look at my phone, and I was like, no, I'm going to play Jokes. He was like, okay. So immediately we're playing a little bit of an unfamiliar game for him, which felt good. Now my Jokes list, the reason it works, and I played this matchup with Jamie and Dean 5 or 6 times, kind of in the run up to the WTC, is on that turn where they come forward and feet. I, instead of having to back off or commit, I bring all of my heavies into the threat ranges, all my lights into the threat ranges, but in front of them, walk up all the ranges, feet, make them all Def 15 tough models, shoot off what I can, but Jairus doesn't have the number of attacks with enough mat to get through that. Lashes need 7s, everybody else needs 8s or 9s, so you can't get through it, and you rely on. I have to position quite carefully, but I can force situations where they can't get through the rangers quick enough to get to the heavies behind. And then they have the same problem that a normal Jake's has. Either they come in, try to kill the rangers, try to get the heavies behind, which is very difficult, or they back off and then they have scenario problems. So I'd set this up exactly. I'd practiced several times before. I'd like 2 heavies, 2 lights, and some rangers on one flank opposite the trike. On the other side, I had like 2 or 3 units of rangers, 1 heavy and 1 light, maybe 2 lights. Sorry. And I thought, right, I'll put Jake's kind of loosely in the middle. I'll do what I can to protect her. I'll feet on both fronts, and then this feels like a really solid game. This is exactly the position I practiced. Unfortunately, with the table I had absolutely nowhere to keep Jake safe. With it being 2 fronts, the army was pulled very wide. There was nothing in the middle. Not even concealment, no cover, no line of sight blocking, nothing. Just open field. So I'm looking at my options, and I'm like, do I commit to a flank? Either the 40s or the 50s, feet on one side, try to win that game, or can I keep her alive some other way? So I'd elected to drop a medical crate behind her. So I'm looking at what can actually reach her. I know Jairus can reach her, but Jairus has only got 3 shots. I'm like, right, the Trike's guns could reach her, so there's another 3 shots there because Jake wasn't playing the slam gun. And I'm like, right, okay, that's 6 shots. Like, after the medical crate, you have to kill me in 1 shot. I was like, it's probably fine. I'm camping, I think, 3. I've feated, so I'm Def 17. Maybe I'll be okay. Jake had found an angle there where he could get a lasher into Jake to pull her out of the medical crate's range. And that was my downfall. So the positioning of the turn felt great, but I got assassinated in the end. And what we later then discussed, what I needed to do was drop a mantlet in front of her for the cover, the extra armor against guns, and more importantly, to stop me from being dragged out of a slightly safer position. So I felt like it was a good game. I really enjoyed it. Shout out to Jake. He was an absolute pleasure. Easily one of the cleanest and most gentlemanly opponents I've ever played. Thoroughly enjoyed the game, but yeah, I just made that mistake of which crate to drop to keep her alive, so I got assassinated.
That's fair enough. What did the lasher have to roll to hit Jake's?
Because of Zoldarov activation,
9,
he
right?
had managed to hit the shadow bind with Jairus. So I'm Def 14. I think he managed to get gang, so he was looking for a 6,
Right.
which isn't unreasonable.
Yeah, fair
Without
enough.
the shadow bind, he's looking for 9s. So it still wasn't a super amazing assassination. He needed, because to even get those lashes there, he needed Skiller to kill like a Def 15 Patriot that was kind of awkwardly behind a wall. So he needed things to go right to get there. It wasn't a great assassination run, but he said after the game, he was like, I think if I don't take it, you just win in 2 or 3 turns time, which is kind of the same thoughts I've had with in some practice games at Dean. Just like, yeah, like if I can force us to play this really quick game, and I can force you into a position where I can threaten the Trike's life like really seriously. Because all it takes is like a full synergy Valiant at power 23 with Sign to Death does like 45 boxes on average. So you then just need something else to hit it.
Yeah.
But yeah, forced him into that situation, and he played it very well, and it came up.
Fantastic, nice. Yeah, I think against sort of like a typical trike skiller lasher list, I found with Brian Blood with sort of like 4 Marauder Crew and Locker Bash, a similar thing. They can come in and kill 10 Marauder Crew, maybe 12, but then you can kill everything else that isn't the trike and then play scenario. So sort of similar thing there. I don't think they don't have the volume of attacks to play that sort of list. So I can understand why they went for the one part they can try and kill, I suppose.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So that's and I suppose, how did you do for that round? Unfortunately, you guys are on 2 losses. So how did the rest
1
go?
and 4. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
David won the mirror because it's a mirror and it's David. It didn't feel out of reach though. I think in Ryan and mine's games in particular, a couple of things go right, a few things go differently. It definitely felt like we had a shot, which was great, but they were the better guys on the day.
Fantastic. Okay, well, not fantastic you lost, but fantastic explanation. Thank you. So that's day 1 done, and so you're heading into a nice evening. Did you guys go out Saturday evening? Was it a heavy evening, or was it a nice chilled one?
Ryan, do you want to say this?
I had a heavy evening. I wasn't planning on drinking, but I had a very heavy evening.
Yeah, me neither. It just happened.
And this was I think the first night where Dwayne was out with vengeance with a random assortment of just bottles of liquid.
Mm.
You didn't know what it was. It was just a case of, here, try this.
And you did.
Yeah,
We
I did.
did. It's very persuasive.
The vodka was disgusting. I had to go buy an ice cream towards the end. That wasn't good.
Yeah.
That was the Naga chili one.
It was not good.
Okay.
Nah. He had some really good ones though. He had like a caramel one, an orange one as well.
Good.
They were both really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I stayed up till pretty late drinking. I ended up staying with Jan and David because I think Dean went to bed at like 10.
Yeah.
And he was staying with Fraser, who I've never properly met before. So I was like, I don't really want to go back to the room at like 2:30, 3 a.m. Just crash in there and wake them up. So it's just like, I'll sleep on the floor in their room because they were both up. Yeah, so I had a great night. But
Yeah.
Fantastic.
I partook in the whole thing. There was at the hotel. There was just below reception like a really nice bar, loads of space, all the alcohol that you could want, and we got sat down there just chatting in a big circle. A bunch of sort of team 2 and 3 at the time. The team 1 guys were down, but they were kind of discussing plans for next days because obviously they were 3 out at this point. They head off to bed fairly reasonably, probably 11 o'clock. And then I was kind of assuming like, I'll do the same thing. But like Ryan says, one thing led to another. A lot of people started drinking, and we spent most of the night where sort of the Australians and the Americans were about. We played darts. I acquired a bucket hat from Alex, which was fantastic. I was piggybacking Ian, maybe I think it was, around for a while, which is probably how I massively injured my ankle, which is a fun story for day 2. So yeah, fantastic night. Lots of fun stuff happened. Went to bed like 12:30 probably.
Nice.
Drank a lot of water before we went to sleep.
You fully enjoyed your Saturday evening. I can appreciate that. Fantastic.
Yeah, well, we knew we weren't going to win anymore, so we're like, not like let's sack it off altogether because we would never do that. But we're like, well, we'll take it a little bit easier. And just, we had a fantastic time. And one thing that was quite nice. Apologies to the Aussies, but they'd lost that day, so they'd come down to socialise, probably with sort of similar attitudes. It was a great opportunity to just get to speak to them. So I spent a lot of time speaking to Alex, James, and Ian. A lot of time speaking to Robin. So it was just a great evening.
I love that. I love that. Like you say, you're not disregarding the whole event because you're 2-1, but I think you can let your hair down a bit, right? And a bit of almost maybe a bit of weight off your shoulders. That okay, we're gonna do our best we can, but we haven't got that extreme pressure. Fantastic. So right, we're into day 2. A very hungover Leo and Ryan get to the venue. Who was
We fallen
your
asleep doing the pairing process. It was so bad.
Leo, you run us through the round 4. Like, what team did you play? How loosely did the pairings play?
Right. So we got America again. I still don't know to this day. Maybe Ryan can correct me on this. Which of the 2 other American teams were supposed to be 2 and 3? Because I don't think there's a distinction. I think they're just areas. Because I know a lot of them live up near New York, and some of them live more Delaware area. So we played USA Bison. Were they 3? See,
They were allegedly 3, and the reason why I'm going to go with that is because
players. So
they are. But that's when I got to the house with the Americans the week before. They said all of them are here, bar team 2. So
right,
that's
yeah.
what I'm doing.
So yeah, it was. Who's the captain of the team? Was it Riker?
I don't actually know. I thought it was Cody, but I could be wrong.
Yeah. So yeah, we played USA Bison. Fantastic team, lovely guys.
Oh, no,
5
Sean.
very competent players. Pairing process was an experience. So most of the team got to the table about 2 minutes before the round started, which was fun. I'd been there for some time and napped at one point. I was so tired. Pairing process, I think, went okay. Jan played into Vargas, some Gravediggers. Matchavers played a little bit. He just knows that with Wanderers, like horrible rerolls, Starcross nonsense, even with Carnage, like he can just play a really long grindy game. David played. Oh, it was his only butcher game of the weekend. Just because of the way the pairing process went, he ended up playing into Grix. So he played butcher into Kythos. I played
Kythos, I don't think.
Was it not?
No, I don't think. Oh no, it must have been.
I'm
So you
quite
didn't play
sure it was.
Valkyries. Yeah, it must have been Kythos.
Yeah.
Sorry, apologies.
I played into Huxley. Ryan, who did you play?
Oh, I played into Riker with Harushka again.
Yeah, that was it. And then we thought we'd let Dean have a break from Kythos. We played Kythos 3 games in a row. No one likes a +3 death feat, so he played Zataroth instead. Another +3 death feat, so just better Kythos, really. Which he was not happy about. Into Cody, who's an exceptional Infernals player. So the pairing process we felt went okay. I wouldn't have said we smashed this one out of the park or anything. We were, David's match was a little bit rough. Dean to Cody was a bit rough. The rest of us I think felt okay.
I would love to have Dean on here to get his view on the pairing process.
By the end of it, he loved it.
Wait until you hear about round 5, where he played the other +2 in this case, though, death feat caster.
He got a day off on round 5 then.
Just got plus death feats.
To be fair, I got basically all armor feats, so
true.
Yeah.
Bar Shadow Tongue, so
don't hear you complaining, Ryan. Huh?
Oh, you will. You will.
That's you haven't heard about his game yet. You haven't heard about this game yet.
Oh yeah, this one was
Ryan.
Also
You kick us off.
Oh, I'll kick you off. My brain was not working, so I went for breakfast. I didn't feel hungover. I sat down to start the pairing process, and it hit me like a truck. I was like, "This is not good."
Yeah.
So all of that thing that I said playing into Rush last time about you stay in ground mode, you play it super safe. I didn't do any of that. So I almost lost the striker bottom of 1 to a Siege Terusk. Luckily, he failed a rerollable 6 for the Dreg. Going into my next turn, I somehow didn't learn my lesson. Still didn't go into ground mode. So he then picked up the general for free. It's not going well, and I was like, right. The only way I stay in this game now, because I could wait out your feet. The only way I stay in this game now is if on my feet turn, I roll 3 or 4 crits over the 3 Corsairs. Didn't happen. No crits. I think I got 1. So Gargas did not go down. I was like, that's basically game at this point, so that's fine. So mine did not go well, but I'm just going to blame the alcohol.
Can we talk about the assassination run that you didn't take? You know, the
this
5 full throttle jackhammers with a striker into Horus with 1 camp, where on average you overkill him by like 7 or 8 knots.
Yeah, so I think I could have got to him with I think it was a power 15 one though.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's
So I was
not
a bit like, it's a little bit dicey because it's not the general going for the assassination. I'm only Matt 7. It was on his feet turn.
Oh, you
But I
didn't
was
tell
like,
me
I
that
don't-
either. Now I sound silly.
yeah, perfect. You're already
Come on.
idiot. This is why you're the child.
From my perspective, you were going in a dice off 1 with 5 attacks boosted to hit, and I was like,
Oh.
why have you not taken that?
No.
Now we had some context.
Yeah.
All right, fair enough.
Okay, so unfortunately, it wasn't an optimum game from Ryan. We can't win them all. Yeah, we can't win them all.
No.
Okay.
No, you have to turn up to the games apparently. Is what I found.
So, Leo, you how did your game go?
Yeah, well, so I'd also not recovered fully from the evening before, but I was just really tired. Like I wasn't hungover, no headache, no like kind of brain fog or anything. I was just really tired. So I'm like sat at the table with my opponent, looking through his lists and picking my own, and every 2 seconds I'm just like yawning off to the side. So I felt awful because I was like, I promise I'm engaged, just really tired. Something else that was interesting is that like I mentioned earlier, I'd hurt my ankle at some point, so I was like struggling to walk. So I'm just this tired little man sat on a chair, like, right, yeah, at least I'm playing Storm Legion, so that's a faction I know very, very well. Looking at his list, it's got Huxley and Kane, so instantly I'm like, okay, well, I'm not playing Calder, which is good, because she's like the best Storm Legion caster in my opinion, for dealing with grave diggers. Like, there's no way he drops Kane. Like, all of my guns in my corner list out-threat his. Even with evasive, I just don't think it matters. So he played Huxley. This is a matchup I played a little bit, not tons, because generally Calder gets dropped against me. But I've played with Huxley so many times. Again, I feel fairly comfortable. Best laid plans for the scenario, I think I went first. And the main bit of information about his list that really made me happy is that he had no true sight heads on any strikers. He had the Black 13th with true sight, but no true sight heads on strikers. So in the center of the table, there was like quite a long forest, and then there was a building, and the 250s were in the middle of those two. So I just bridged the gap with clouds, sat my entire army in that gap out of walking threat, and just went, okay, like I've got so much board presence and threat range now. He made some great choices. He put Arcane Shield on a striker, like sent it to contest the 40s because I think the caches had disappeared, so we just completely abandoned that side of the table. Got this arm 23 striker on my face, and that's kind of awkward to deal with. He's still activating, and I'm just planning, right, how am I going to do this? How am I going to do this? Maybe with Sign to Death and Blessing, plug and go around. If I like crit once, then it's probably pretty on. Maybe send some commandos in if I need to wrap it up. Maybe. And then he got to the last activation of his turn, which was Huxley, and he was kind of and ahhing, do I go here, do I go there? And instead, he walked Huxley full, I think he ran like 7 inches directly forward, with full camp, nestled just behind the general, kind of in the midst of most of where the rest of his army was, and went Huxley on 6 camp, like effectively that's, 54 boxes, armor 20, death 13. It's pretty solid, to be fair. But he'd just not measured some of the threat ranges. And I had both heavies could charge, the rowdies could charge. I had both units of rangers that could shoot. I had some commandos, the 13th. Most of what I had could get in. And I'm like, well, you've got a lot of camp, but I've got so many attacks. So I sent the rowdies, I feated first, stuck Sign to Death on the Valiant, I think. Sent the rowdies in with Stir the Blood, Power 11 Weapon Masters. My first charge attack damage roll was quadruple 1. So that was fun. I was like, oh, cool, no points to start off. But I wasn't too worried. I thought I've got a lot of redundancy here. The next 2 did like average, like fine. Repo them all out of the way, stop him being engaged. Range unit went up, dropped an ammo crate. They rolled like 5 shots, pumped in 4 power 18s. That did a lot of the work. Because I'm doing damage through camp at this point. Not much, but a little bit. And I think I sent Plugger in first, and he like crits on the charge attack cavalry roll, and then rolled like a 13 or 14 on the damage roll at dice or 4, and just like one shot the rest of his boxes. So I got the assassination, which I was quite glad for because my previous rounds had, especially the first 2 games of the previous day, had all gone on for a very long time. I was the last one to finish for most of our rounds. I was just really glad, given my tired state, that I could actually just get to see some of the games happening around me. So, yeah, he's a great opponent, lovely guy, but just that slight misplacement with Huxley.
Fantastic. So that's 1-1. How did the rest of the team go this round, Ryan?
So just so you're aware, we didn't actually know that Leo won because he walked away from the table looking absolutely depressed. Clearly just because he was tired, apparently. So David won his slow grind into Kythos with Butcher.
Yeah.
I think we were all a little bit nervous because it's the one time that he was not playing Harushk.
Yeah.
So we was a little bit nervous about that, but he's played it multiple times at this point.
Mhm.
So he'd won that, and then Dean lost his into Cody Infernals. I think he just failed to kill a Howler on a crucial turn. It just had a massive knock-on effect. And then Jan's game into
Vargas.
Vargas
He got a clock win, I
was...
think.
Yeah, he got clock win in the end, so Vargas clocked out. I think there was a judge call on there where they had to do a judge call of can you do your entire control maintenance phase in a second, which
Yeah.
wouldn't have been a problem, but Jan decided to run a model off of a point that he was scoring. So if the judge call went against Jan, he would have lost because he was an idiot that round, and he would be happy to admit that. However, yeah, I think there's like 2 or 3 judges. There's like, no, it's not physically possible.
Yeah.
I think they're looking at putting something in place for future ones as well, just to be like, you've got to have a set amount of time for your turns.
So was that instance where Jan's opponent had 1 second left, and if he could play his last turn, he would have won in a second?
He was up on scenario, but like I think there's like 2 or 3 turns left in the game, so he would have had to play multiple turns. Obviously, as well with the clock. By the time you flip that clock and it says 1 second, it's going to be less than 1 second as well, right?
Of course.
So you've got power ups, you've got to get all your focus back and stuff. But once again, it wouldn't have been a problem if Jan just didn't run a model up, because he would have then scored to be continuously staying in the game. Because he'd done everything else, he's contesting all the stuff. But yeah. His opponent just slowly choked on star-crossed high-def models.
Yeah.
I
think an important thing about that round, though, is the order in which the games happened. This was our most intense round, I thought. So I won quite early on, but like Ryan says, didn't really I don't think it's a great idea generally at the WTC to go around and massively, when the other players are playing, I don't like to go around and be like everyone should play as if their game matters, whether or not it does. So I'd won fairly early on. About maybe half an hour later, Dean, I think, had lost to Cody. Ryan lost shortly after, and then another bit of time. At this point, is looking at the game, so this looks rough. Jan looked in a little bit of a rough place. We felt okay, but we need both of these games to go our way. Some more time passes. We're all wandering around chatting. We'll go check again. Jan's won. It's 2-2 now, and we're like, right, we just need David to bring it home. We just need him to work some crazy butcher magic and win the game. But again, he doesn't know that. He doesn't know what the scores are like. He's just playing. We were all sat in a different room. Just you don't want to crowd around the table. You don't want to put that pressure on. I spoke to Ryan. I was like, go check on him. Or I was like, no, it's fine. No, I'll have a little look. So as I walked over, they shook hands, and I was like, please be David. And I said to David, I was like, have you won? And he was like, yeah. How did the round go? And I was like, well, now we've won it. So that was a really intense, waiting for the final games to come in moment. So really solid round.
Fantastic. And I do agree, actually. I don't know, when I went to the Guild Ball WTC 2018, I was fortunate enough to be captain for England. And I definitely say the sort of accepted thing was, right, if you win the game, you don't run around your team. But yeah, I won, yeah, right. You let people play their games, and then otherwise, I think it's just a bit rude, really. Fantastic. So 3-1 now. going into round 5, probably very tired, very drained.
Yeah.
Leo, why don't you take us through round 5 pairings?
Right. Well, so you know what happened earlier where we were drawing into the US and then it was actually Belgium instead?
Mm.
Yeah, it happened again.
Oh.
So went for lunch. We were like, we're looking at the teams, and no disrespect to anyone, but there was a slight gap in the caliber in this bracket. So at the top of the bracket, I think we had Canada 1, Sweden 1, Australia 1, and then I think Italy and Poland were also in there. And I was like,
Yeah.
please, can we just not get like Australia 1? Like it's just going to be so difficult. So we're drawing against Australia 1, and we're like, okay. But naturally, we're the English and they're the Aussies, so show no fear. Went over to the table, immediately started trash talking. Went and told James I was going to take all of his lunch money. I was like, yeah, I'll eat Kythos all day, no problem. Get to the venue, start planning, rounds redrawn. Again. So abandon all of the planning we'd just done, pull up the new spreadsheet, which Jan's terrible at, and he just kept looking at the wrong teams. Like, no, Jan, it's that one. I said, now we're drawing against Sweden 1, and we're like, brilliant. Literally no better. In fact, our grid looks worse.
Yeah.
More reds, more oranges. We're like, okay. At this point, I was very tired, wasn't I, Ryan? I was a very unhappy individual going into this round.
He was
'Cause
very
normally my
pessimistic,
job
is what I'd say.
Normally my job is beat the dusk, and I was looking at the dusk list, and it was like, Helith, no problem. Phantasm, no problem. Big Pig, ooh, that's 2 models that my con list can't easily kill. Double Void Engine. Like no magical weapons other than like the 13th and like gun mages and the blessed card. I know like I've got ammo crates, but it's like when you actually put it on the table, it's not that simple. And I was like, okay. What are my other options? The mirror against Orlov. Don't play that. I don't particularly like mirror anyway. Like Vargas is just difficult. Orlov's very good. No, I don't really want to play that. Grix, virtually no practice in 2, so that'll be rough as well. Like I can play it, I think it's fine, but it's rough. And Storm Legion, it's Nicholas. Calder, I was like, it's playable. Okay. There was Brian Bloods. This is the only one I felt good about. I was like, it's not gonna happen. Brian Bloods is like a 7 for me. Like generally very solid. I've got the stealth, I've got the clouds, I've got an unspittable ground, I've got every bit of tech I need to make it a difficult game for them. And then going into the pairing process, I was like, I'll admit, I was being a little bit overly grumpy. I was like, no, please don't make me play the dusk. Like, I just don't want to. And the team were like, no, it's fine. Like, just be optimistic. And I was like, no, it's like it'll be. I'm telling you, it's not good. We started doing the pairing process, and I think I can't remember which. They matched.
We won. We won the dice roll for once.
We won.
So
They put dusk out first, right?
No, I don't
Yeah,
think
they
we
did.
did.
No, I think they put dusk out. We put myself and David in response because even if the list is hard for me, I've got more experience than the rest of the team, so it's still safer. They took David, and I was like, oh, thank God. And now I'm looking at what they've got left to put against me. In my opinion, they should have stuck Cricks and Gravediggers out, and I was expecting it, and I was prepared to play Victor in a really horrible, long, grindy game against Kythos, and I was like mentally preparing myself. And they dropped Gravediggers and Trolls. And I was like, fantastic. The team noticed my mood, immediately changed, and I was like, I will take the Trolls, please. Like that's a game I'm more comfortable with. So I took the Trolls, then Jan got the Cricks, Dean got Storm Legion, and Ryan got more Gravediggers. Yeah, you lost the roll-off again?
Yeah, I lost the roll-off game, yeah.
Yeah, good man. How'd your game go?
Was it more Vargas, Ryan?
It was more Vargas, yeah.
How was your game, Ryan?
I actually had defeat top of 1, which was real bad. So once again, it was just a case of me slowly losing the game, but like staying in it. I think we ended on like turn 5 or 6. I just needed to be slightly more offensive on my turn 1 because I was still a little bit cagey, but like with the feet. So I lost like barely nothing turn 1, but I also didn't gain a huge amount either. So I could have pushed a little bit more because I definitely caused him some problems. But once again, you roll well. They start rolling well on shots, and they can then pump out so much damage that sometimes it just doesn't matter. Like there's a point where Olaf was genuinely laughing because of how many shots he was getting. Like everything was going to the 3 shots. It's like, yeah, it's just one of those games.
But it's okay because it's Olaf, right? He's got that nice calming voice.
Oh, he's lovely. He's absolutely lovely. It's like a little cuddly bear. But yeah, so that was a slow loss for me. I think the point was I was actually still in it, and I was going for a play where because I'd lost all my battle group, and the only way for me to really stay in the game was scoring. I think this was Trench Warfare. I think.
Yeah, it
I
was.
can't remember. So I had the 40 to score, and then the 50, which is like kind of right up on the table as well. So like the only person that can score that 50 is Calder. She has to score that for me to stay in the game. I tape measured a unit to be able to run back to score my point. Tape measure was fine. Then towards the end of the turn, I go to move that unit. I stick it, and I'm out by like half an inch, maybe less than that. So it's like, it is what it is. Like that's the reason why you use sticks at the end of the day. But so that was one of the losses for us that round. But it was the Olaf bullet, so
Yeah.
someone had to take it.
I mean, going second to Vargas is never easy. So that is what it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Leo, how did your round 5 go?
Well, so just before we get into my game, I think I was the 4th game to finish in this round. So Ryan and Dean had lost and David had won. So I remember David watching my game. I played an incredibly long, grindy game, and David's watching it because he knows that I need to win this, keep us in the round, and then Jan has to win as well. So my game should have been fine. Brian Blitz is a good matchup. He was playing, I think, Shadow Tongue and Boomhowler. I got Boomhowler, fine with that. Like I know with Rusty's in the feet, like you're gonna have a solid turn of just not shooting. But Chris, Claire, and I have been working on the Connor list for a while, and we decided that the Kythos kind of matchups and Boomhowler sort of Brian Bloods is much better with the second unit of commandos in there. On the feet, I'm at 9 cavalry. I'm so accurate. And I've got anatomical precision, so tough's not too much of an issue. Yeah, brilliant. I'll play this game where I just threaten to shoot like his caster and the Vroga and those pieces off, and then I'll actually just kind of bait him in. We'll just play this melee game, and it'll be fine. Solid plan. Deployment went all right. I think he went first. No, I think I went first. Sorry. Ran up all my stuff, pretty standard stuff. He came forward. I then positioning a little bit. Needed to play a really quick turn because I wasn't going to go in and do much. Over on the left-hand flank, measuring out my Valiant. Like, yep, 10 inches away from that Marauder unit. 10 inches away from that one. Yep. Just didn't measure the third. He had a bosun, had no quarter. He just charges and kills the Valiant. Like, massive blunder. Completely messed things up. Charges, kills the Valiant. Bombs forward another Marauder crew unit. Sits on his trench warfare 50mm, so they've got cover. Runs 2 boarding parties to just engage everything. Feet, and I'm like, oh, what have I done? So I'm sweating it a little bit at this point. I'm like, okay, like this game, I'm 13 points down. I cannot play a standard attrition game at this point. Like I'm gonna have to play really carefully and intelligently to try and win this. I've lost my ability to score the left-hand flank 50mm unless I airdrop. But if I airdrop on that side, then I don't airdrop on the other side, and then Plugger just dies. So I've got this horrible thing of, right, I'm never scoring that game. So I counterfeited. I had to play a horrendous turn of trying to dig myself out of boarding party models who were Death 16 with Reciprocate and Annoyance and Tough for whatever reason, which is horrible. So I'm doing things like relying on missing grenades with commandos to kill with blast damage. Against the Marauders that came in, I had the 13th, some Rangers, but it was one of those turns where you're like, brilliant, this unit can go and charge and kill this unit, but first, that unit needs to be disengaged. I have to go kill those things first with that. An order activation nightmare. I don't have Tactician in the list because I'm a firm believer that I can just play better. So I had this super difficult, just try it out, order of activation thing. Tried to play it as quick as possible, still took a while. I got there in the end, killed both boarding parties, killed a decent number of Marauder crew, scored some points, flipped the clock over. Now Anton had an equally complicated turn ahead of him, like he had loads of stuff to deal with. I was contesting absolutely everything. I'd scored quite well. Fugue Walkers with Storm Rager. You can't CRA into a model with Storm Rager. Horrible to deal with, by the way. Took me like 3 turns to kill that guy. He just kept running it forward, right through the middle of the table. Like Plugger went in on 1 turn with like boosted to crits, boosted damage rolls, just nothing. It's like cool, okay. I think he did 2 boxes. Anton plays his turn, and I'm looking at his clock the entire time. Like, okay, I think there's like an avenue here where I can force clock pressure to be a big thing. I'm just going to have to play really, really quick, really concise. I'm going to have to pull this game out and make it take a very, very long time. So, following his turn, I think he came forward, did a decent amount of work, but I'd decided that I wasn't going to win the attrition game, so I didn't need to kill every last model possible on my feat turn. So I did things like, instead of the rowdies getting involved at all, I cloud walled up again. I continued to use rock wall, continued to use inhospitable ground. I was really conservative with Plugger. I was like, he could go off and try and killing sprees way through that unit of Marauders, but if he misses and they tough a little bit, I just lose him. I can't afford that. So I played this really conserved game, and I just dragged it all the way out to like turn 6. On my turn 6, I went for a play with I had 2 machine gunners and the Trollkin Express Sniper from a ranged unit. Went forward with an ammo crate. The 2 machine gunners killed a booty boss that was contesting his cash. I then used the Express Sniper with fire for effect on it to Thunderbolt a Frogger off the cash. Went in with something else, scored it, and made that gambit. And I was like, right, now I've got the points advantage. We're both like sub 2 minutes on clock. I'm just going to flip the clock, see what he can do. And if we have to play a turn 7, I can plan it during his like minute-long turn. And I'm doing the maths quickly in my head, and I've got enough pieces and enough positioning. I can contest everything, score enough. I can drag it out. And end of his turn 6, he not managed to score enough points. So I won the game, I think 14-11, both of us with about a minute left on the clock. So really horrible, difficult game. That complete just brain fart with the Valiant made it so much harder. But yeah, I managed to just drag the game out and completely flip the dynamic rather than trying to alpha him. I was like, right, I'm just going to make this game entirely different to what it should have been. And yeah, managed to eventually scrape the win. Which David looks at me and goes, like, did you win? Because I have to win for us to be even now. And I was like, yeah, like slightly traumatized. Like, yeah, I did. And he was just like, yeah, we still got hope.
Nice.
And then Ryan, do you want to explain what happened in Jan's game to finish out the round?
Yeah. So somehow clocks got away from quite a few people this round. So the judges had to go round to tables, and they're basically right. Well, the round time is going to go off in like 5 minutes' time. We're just going to have to take the score at that point.
Mm.
And Jan was like, well, the clock's on me. I've got the time. So are you saying that I can just stay on my clock? And the judges were like, yeah. So Jan just won the game. They spoke it out. Like there was a little bit of tension afterwards because obviously that's not a great thing to go through. But I think after like a 3 or 4 minute cooldown, because it was a really grindy game they were having, but it looked like Jan was creeping ahead anyway in terms of the attrition, just not quite on scenario. Although he was up on scenario at that point anyway. So afterwards, the guy that he was playing up against came up to him and was like, yeah, I don't think I could have unjammed everything with the amount of time anyway that I would have had. So after the initial bit of being a bit annoyed about the situation, it all seemed fine. So yeah, so Jan got his another Wanderer game.
It was Wanderer Kaithos.
Yeah.
Super grindy long game.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really interesting. The way
it was a bit awkward, but we felt a little bit better because it did look like he was probably going to win, so it didn't feel like he'd snatched a win from a place he didn't deserve it.
Yeah, the fact that his opponent also confirmed that as well, like 3 or 4 minutes afterwards, kind of helped because we tried to get team photos before the start of each round. Day 1 we were really good at it, day 2 we were really bad. So after that happened, I was going to tell life. I was like, this is probably really bad time, but can we get team photos?
Yeah.
But yeah, after that everything was chill. So like, then obviously we went 3-2 in that round. So we were pretty happy with that. I secured our 4-1. I think Sweden was one of the worst teams we had grids for.
Yeah, and one of the best teams there. So we were absolutely I think we were slightly shocked. I think, we knew going into that round that I had to win my game. Like I'd been given a good matchup, I had to win it. We knew David had to win his. Then we're like, so we just need somebody else to pull out a win. But you're looking at the other 3 games, and you're like, those matchups are all pretty rough.
Yeah.
Against very, very good players. We're like, this is just not going to be easy. But Jan pulled through, and we got there in the end.
Yeah, that's amazing. So you guys ended 4-1, and as we said at the start, ended 6th. So that's pretty incredible. England, Paddington took it, and I think Excalibur's 3-2. So really amazing year for England as well, and an amazing year for you guys. Let's look to the future for you both. I mean, I know the answer to this, but for the viewers, are you guys both looking to attend the WTC next year?
Yes.
Go first.
yes, I am. Which I don't think will come as a surprise to anyone. I've absolutely been loving the journey. I've been playing Warmachine for like maybe 3 years now. Absolutely loving it. Every tournament performance, every WTC, I'm just like, right, how can I get better? How can I get better? Like, you start off here, get to a spot where I'm feeling like I'm a really solid player, and I'm like, it's just not enough. Just keep tracing it better and better and better. So yeah, I'm looking to go again next year, improve my performance, and just keep pushing it, see how far I can go.
Yeah, fantastic. How about yourself, Ryan?
Well, seeing as I'm one of the nerds on the committee as well, I mean, Leo started off because I came back into the game November for Nationals last year. I didn't even know who Leo was. From that point to Invitational, his growth really skyrocketed. At the same time, David was also skyrocketing as well, because I think David just came out of winning the solos the last year. So those two were like really growing. Then it got to the team bit, they were still growing. I'm sorry to go off a little bit here.
You're welcome
quite
to.
what you're asking. We made a couple of risky calls throughout. So Leo went off of Storm Legion onto Gravediggers because we didn't highlight that. And he hit the now straight from the gate with doing well with that. Yard went from Trolls to Grimkin because he wasn't quite feeling it, and we felt like there was a gap in the market because Dusk was going down and Wanderer stock was going up. I then had the issues with Kador, where Kador was getting worse, so I ended up having to borrow Storm Legion from someone. So yeah, I mean, in terms of the growth on the team was phenomenal. I think for us, it really helped with the pairing process because me and Jan were kind of looking. It was like most of the time we was trying to get Leo and David sort of 5s or 6s. Leo 6s, David 5s, because David at best puts a 5 for his ratings. He's terrible. But yeah, like I really got the itch for captaining again throughout the whole process. So I will be going, and I will probably apply for a captaincy again. So that's what I'm looking at doing.
That's amazing. I think England as a country will be better for it. So fantastic. Thank you both. Before we wrap up, is there anything you would like to plug yourself, an event? I don't know, anything. You're going to write a book in a year. You want to plug that? Anything you want to book.
But it's not really plugging things so much as I just want to say all of the teams we played were absolutely excellent people. Every game I thoroughly enjoyed. Never had any issues. There was never a judge call that felt serious. It was always like laughter. Everything was clean. Not once did I have an awkward moment of tension of, oh, do I give you that take back? 5 delightful opponents, delightful teams. The atmosphere was phenomenal. I thoroughly enjoyed the entire weekend and really appreciate everyone that was part of it.
Fantastic. How about yourself, Ryan?
I'll just say what Leo said mainly. Like everyone's fantastic. The community's so great. Like I would heavily recommend, even if you don't think you're at the caliber to play on a team, sign up for Solo Masters. You're not going to quite have the same experience, but you're going to have all of that mingling with all of the players. I had a couple of locals that won on teams, but they just wanted to go see people that they've seen briefly before. So they had a fantastic time. So I'd recommend to anyone, really, if you've got the money and you've got the time off work, like go to it. Are you gonna play, Aaron? I'm gonna throw you on the bus now.
Yeah, I am gonna be applying. I do realise that the level of play in England, I think it's phenomenal, right? And it's probably only gonna get better this year because I feel like there's so many people that are hungry for it. Like War Table on the UK Discord is like popping off, right? So I'm going to apply. I realise that the caliber of play is really good, so I might be there, I might be not, but I'm going to give it my shot. And with that in mind, if people did want to do that and apply to the team or to a captaincy or whatever, what's the best way and where should they look to do that, Brian?
So at the moment, when is this going up?
Great question. I've not planned it. I will upload it tomorrow, which will be the 11th of. Oh no, it'll be the 7th
Friday,
of
right?
November.
So if you listen to this on day 1 or 2, you can still apply to be a committee member. We're just going through committee applications at the moment. After the committee applications are done, we're looking within the next sort of 2 weeks to start captain applications. So we'll probably do like what we did last year. We'll take the captains on really early, start to get all of that developing. We have an interesting dynamic where we've got to look towards the January updates as well, because that does change things a little bit. So we then try to get player applications in early again, just so that we can monitor players, because I think this year is a fantastic example with some of the people like Leo and David, like the growth that you can see in certain people. And we was trying to offer some form of assistance from like the captains and things like that to the sort of the players if they wanted it. So we'll probably do the same sort of thing. So I'd imagine player applications are going to be towards the end of the year, maybe the start of next year. They'll be open for a little bit, but captains will be soon. So, and then hopefully selections. I'm just going to say first quarter. I can't really give an exact time frame because we've got to discuss it with the new committee and stuff like that. But yeah,
Fantastic.
any questions, you can always reach out to me. Little Chris, who I'm sure most people watching this will know, and other Chris. The committee's basically just Chris's at the moment, Ryan. So
I love that. I love that. And I suppose there is a Facebook page for the England
yes, so
Warmachine WTC.
all of our posts go on the Facebook page for the UK committee and the Discord. So if you're in either one of those, they go on there. I think sometimes they go in the UK Facebook group, but I don't think that's that active as far as I'm aware. I don't really know.
Yeah, it does seem pretty quiet, to be fair.
Yeah, Dacre does most of the comms, so it always makes sure it's in the Discord. If you're not in that, you probably should be. That just seems to keep me growing. We run leagues in there all the time, or on the Facebook community page as well.
Fantastic. Thank you for that, Ryan. We'll probably wrap it up there. Big thank you from myself, both to you, Leo, and to Ryan for your time. It was really insightful, and I'm really grateful. And I'll always love catching up with you guys. If anyone is loosely interested in WTC or Warmachine in the UK, jump into the Discord. I'll put it in the description of the video, and come join it. I think it can be a great year for Warmachine in England next year. So thank you, Ryan. Thank you, Leo. And I'll see you next one, guys. Bye.
Yeah, thanks very much.